all this mainstream media. You have to get the real good information. We got to get that because they're hiding it. Anyway, it's time to resurrect our mind.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me know who's out there. I'm so excited to be with you guys on this morning. Tell me who you are and where you are from. Welcome. I see you, Demetrius, in the chat. I see you, Melissa, in the chat. Oh, I see my Facebook is back up today. So you guys, welcome to the show. As you all know, we are only going to, great morning, Nora. Great morning, Melissa. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Demetria. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys like and share, like and share. I told you all last week that we were going to be having 2 giveaways today. And that is true. Good morning, Sancho. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you, my beautiful sister. And that is true. But one of the giveaways is actually bigger than something we've ever done before. And we're excited about our partners who have come together with us to be able to do that. So with that being said, let us go ahead and hop right into it. Today, I know you guys saw the title, so you already know it's about to go down. And it may not even be what you expect it to be, but it's going to be what we need it to be. Welcome to the broadcast, Jennifer Vincent. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So here we are all, you guys. We are almost to Thanksgiving. We're almost wrapping up this 4th quarter of the year. Can you all believe how fast time has flown? Good morning, Sue. Welcome to the broadcast. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Do you all believe how fast time has flown? I don't, but here we go. I want to thank you all for showing up on whatever platform you're here on, whether you're on Facebook or whether you're joining us from my website, which is live broadcasting the stream right now, or whether you're joining us from YouTube, of course, which most people are joining us. Good morning, my sister Nita. Time is moving. I want to thank you for showing up. We're going to be adding even more platforms as time goes on, but I got to tell you, with everything going on in the world, the main platform will likely sometime in the future just be my website. But for now, I want to thank you guys just for being here. Whatever platform you're on, please go ahead and like the video. Please go ahead and share the video. Why? Because it affects the algorithm, and we want to make sure that as many people as possible get blessed and stay woke. So thank you all for doing that and supporting this channel. It doesn't cost you anything to hit like. So go ahead and hit that like button. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing this year. So here we are, right? It's Thanksgiving, and it's been a tough season for a lot of people. And so with the first unfiltered giveaway, which we're about to talk about right now, we want to do something a little bit different. We want to be able to bless 5 families, at a minimum, 5 families with Thanksgiving dinner this year. So this is being sponsored by Unfiltered in conjunction with some of our partners. We thank Tyson Thompson and her companies, the Whittington companies, for helping us host this. We have to thank, of course, our friend Michelle Renee, who comes on to teach us about cryptocurrency. We have to thank Informative Services. We have to thank the law offices of Attorney Derek Wright. We have to thank JW, which is Jamise Willis, my media manager. They are helping us to sponsor 5 families who are in need of food this Thanksgiving. Good morning, Pamela Cannon. Good morning, Gifty. So this is how we're going to do it. If you are in need, then send an email. It could be you. It could be a friend. It could be a relative. Please send an email. If yourself or someone you know that you want to recommend, that you want to bless this year for Thanksgiving needs, good morning, Susan, needs some help, please send it to beblessed@bcwright.com, or you can send a message in the chat on the Instagram platform or on my or on my Facebook page at the BC Wright. So that is what we're going to be doing with that. We're going to be giving 5 Thanksgiving meals away. And what I did figure out was, I was like, well, how much would that cost? So I looked at this and I said, okay, so a fried turkey already cooked, right, from Popeyes is about $39. And then we want to make sure the family has sides to go along with that. some bread, some sweet potatoes, some greens, or whatever it is that the family might want to have, as well as something to drink. They may even need paper plates and things like that. So we're going to be giving $100 grocery store card or honey baked ham card, whichever one will assist the family with being able to access the food they need to feed their families on this Thanksgiving. And if any of you decide that you would like to participate in that, then you can also be a sponsor and we can help more families. So please, we're going to post this on Facebook later as well. Send someone's name who needs help. And if it's you, then that's fine. Say it's you. And we're going to be blessing at least 5 families this year with Thanksgiving dinner. And that'll be confidential, of course. So what do you guys think about that? Hopefully you guys like that we're going to be doing that. So that being said, we're going to jump into today in history. And as you can see, I'm sitting here fixing some things here, but we're going to get it together. Okay, so we're jumping into today in history. What's going on in history today? In history today, not a lot, except Whitney Houston, the Bodyguard movie, that soundtrack was released. You all remember that movie. It was insanely popular and it was probably one of her best soundtracks. You have Britney Spears at 21 years old. She became the youngest person to get a Hollywood star. Get her name on that little street down there with all the stars on it. It's interesting because she was just recently in the news getting just kind of control of her assets back from her father. They had a whole Free Britney movement that was going on out there in California there. But the most interesting thing I found that happened on Today in History, which is November 17th, yes, rest in peace, Whitney, is Richard Nixon. In 1973, on this year, Richard Nixon told the Associated Press, "People have got to know whether or not their president is a crook, and I am not a crook." So moving on, let's get into today's main show. And it's interesting. Let me tell you how that kind of ties into the show on today. Think about it this way. I am not a crook. He said one thing, but it was really another. So the main point of the show we're talking about today is people saying one thing and sometimes it's another. You all already saw the title of our show. The title of our show, initially, to be honest with you, the title of the show was going to be Civil Unrest. And I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to civil unrest because at first I thought about murder. Is murder being legalized? And there's something I want you guys to decide in that. But the reason I want to go back to civil unrest is because there was so much information in the first case, which was the Rittenhouse case, that I didn't really get to dig into the second case like I want to. And I want to give it the Ahmaud Arbery case. I want to give it its full due time for us to understand it from a different perspective. So let's take a look at the Rittenhouse case, which is in the jury's hands right now. For those of you who don't know what's going on, we're going to tell you. But we're going to tell you that depending on what news station you're watching, you may have an absolutely different narrative, regarding what this case is about. So what's happening in the background? What you all see are pictures of yesterday outside of the Kenosha courthouse in Wisconsin. They are protesting, and you can see on one side, standing right next to each other, you have Justice for the Victims, and then you have Black Lives Matter, and Antifa are just here to intimidate. Tensions remain high in front of the courthouse and surrounding this case, and really in this country. Why? Because it seemed like all of last year, maybe even the year before that, we were watching African American males be murdered on the streets. Or were they all murdered? Let's dive into this. So if we take a historical look, we're going to go over here. What happened to get us here? What happened to get us here? That's the question most people are going to ask. What happened? Well, let's talk about what happened. Okay. So here's what we know. What happened initially was that on August let me make sure I'm getting the dates right. August the 23rd, Jacob Blake was shot. Now, Jacob Blake is the man who was shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, right? He was shot because the police were attempting to arrest him, but the issue became that he was shot, I believe, 7 times in the back. So let's scroll down and take a look at it. So this whole thing lays out because he was shot in the back. And of course, everyone took to the streets. But here's the deal. Why? Who is he? What happened? He was actually had a warrant out for his arrest. A warrant had been issued for his arrest on the charges of third-degree sexual assault, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct. And on August 23rd, the woman who had filed the complaint actually called 911 to report that Mr. Blake was at her home, and there's apparently a disturbance going on at that time. So they went to legally arrest him. It's what happened. This is a picture of him in the hospital after he's been shot, and he is alive, thank God, and recovering. But when they went to arrest him, unfortunately, here's what happened. He was apparently, according to the police, they tried to tase him because he was being disorderly towards the police. That's what they were saying, that they tried to tase him and that he admitted that he had a knife. But they ended up not charging him. So I want to give that background that this is what's happening. But in the midst of that, the protests are spreading. You can see all of this, but 2 people were shot dead. And that person who did it was Kyle Rittenhouse. He's a 17-year-old. Good morning, Jackie. He's a 17-year-old white male. He was arrested at his home in Illinois, and he was charged. So let's talk about this. You can see all the pictures behind me. There's all this rioting going on over the murder. Black people are there, white people are there. They're just rioting happening, right? But in the midst of that, there is a car lot that was set on fire.
This is nuts.
Look at all the cars. This is happening on August the 24th.
Streaming from the live stream from these guys out there watching it. CJ, what?
So that is a car lot that is on fire in Kenosha. Okay. So then the owner of the car lot would later talk about the fact that there was $2.5 million of damage done because they burned up all the cars in his lot. The owner of that lot was Mr. Kendiri, and the name of his lot was Car Source. Okay. The reason I'm taking you through this is because it matters in order for us to get a perspective on where we are. Let's take a look at the actual indictment, and we're going somewhere with this, so bear with me. Let's take a look at the indictment in this case. In this case, you all remember, I'm highlighting it right here. These incidents happened on August the 25th of 2020. If you look in the top right corner, he was indicted on August the 27th of 2020. I have to come back to you on the main screen right now because in the history of the world, I have never seen someone indicted in 48 hours. How do you have enough information in 48 hours? It's because of the climate that we live in. So they had to hurry up and do something. We got him. We got to hurry up and do something. So in 48 hours, he's indicted. So let's dig further into this. So he's indicted in 48 hours. He's charged with first degree recklessly endangering the safety of another. You guys can see 2 people are dead. He killed those 2 people. Those people are dead. But you can also see he's charged in count 5 with recklessly endangering the safety of someone by using a dangerous weapon, as well as count 6, possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18. Why am I bringing that up? Because that particular charge was dismissed. Why was it dismissed? Because they were trying to help him out? It was dismissed because the prosecutor indicted this case without paying attention to what the law said, because apparently the type of gun that Mr. Rittenhouse had on him was not illegal. In fact, in some videos I'm going to show you shortly, you'll see that almost everyone had a gun because it's legal to carry a gun or a weapon like that in Wisconsin. So that is part of the issue. Now, one of the things I told you all to pay attention to was the mention of the word car source. There was a curfew that had been imposed. Nobody should have been out there on the streets, including Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. But on August 25th at approximately 11:45 p.m., a shooting occurred at Car Source. That is the same dealership where you saw the cars on fire, except they had multiple different Car Source dealerships throughout Wisconsin. So in this particular case, what the case has revealed, not just little snippets of the news, because I actually spent all day watching trial testimony, is that Kyle Rittenhouse went there with a friend because he was being paid to protect the property. And everyone who was there had a gun. People who were walking down the streets had a gun because it's legal to carry guns there in Wisconsin. Okay. So here we are. And now we're going to get on. And I'm calling this segment really the indictment, the incitement, and the enlightenment. So here we are. And we have this case, and we haven't really dug into the details yet. But here's the interesting part. When I say the incitement part, before we had an indictment in 2 days. And before we even got to a place where we could figure out what had happened and where all the videos had come forth and things like that, we already had the incitement happening. What do I mean by that? I mean, our president, Joe Biden, called him a white supremacist as soon as the news came out that he had shot 3 people. So let's take a look at that.
President Biden suggests that Kyle Rittenhouse on trial in Kenosha is a white supremacist.
So, Peter, what I'm not going to speak to right now is anything about an ongoing trial, nor the president's past comments.
So we're verifying he did say that, but we're not going to get into the past comments, and that's fine. But I'm here as an attorney letting you know that we shouldn't be labeling anything a thing until we actually look at the evidence and know what the thing is, because there's 2 different sides. And once you're here to decide for yourself. But once you decide, some of you may end up on the left and some of you may end up on the right. But most of the people who get engaged in these types of conversations, or who are standing outside the courthouse, or who are pundits, are really only focused on the sound bites. They're really only focused on what their particular media channel is saying. And the reason this is important is because this will not be the first time, and this will not be the last time that we have to endure something like this. So let's pay attention to a quick summary also, which I believe was inciting, that it came out from inside regarding the case.
I am at that business, sir.
Back away from my people, man.
A 17-year-old from Illinois has been charged with intentional homicide after allegedly shooting 3 people at a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, killing 2 of them.
What happened yesterday night in Kenosha was despicable. 2 people were shot and killed, and a 3rd person was shot and seriously injured.
Authorities say Kyle Rittenhouse was one of a number of self-proclaimed militia members who traveled to Kenosha, where people have been protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man who was shot by a white police officer. Some so-called militia members had asked the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department to deputize them so they could help protect property, a request the sheriff and mayor denied, fearing violence. Wisconsin law says only people over 18 can openly carry guns, so Rittenhouse wasn't authorized to carry the weapon he used to allegedly shoot people.
I work at that business. I am at that business, sir.
Back away from my people, man.
The names of the victims have not yet been released.
Now, there's a couple of things here of note. What he said was, I'm working at that business, sir. I work at that business, sir. And he, at that time, was on the Car Source property. Now, can you kill people over property? The answer is absolutely no. But that's not what happened. What happened in this case is quite a different story. So now we have to get to the enlightenment part. Who are the victims in this story? We're talking about 3 people who were injured. One of them is Anthony Huber. The other is Joseph Rosenbaum. And the other is a Gage Groskowitz, who had his arm shot off. But here's what you're not going to really see or understand, depending on what media channel you're looking at, is that there is video showing that Joseph Rosenbaum was chasing Kyle, and there was a boatload of people around him when he was shot. And when he ran up to him and when he saw that he was shot, he immediately called someone and said, I shot this guy. And Kyle begins to run down the street to find the police to tell them what happened. On his way, while running down the street, he was being chased by a mob. And Anthony Huber, who is also deceased, attacks him after he's kicked in the head and hits him in the head with a skateboard. That is when Anthony Huber gets shot. And then Gage gets shot while trying to grab the gun. After this shooting, the boy gets up in the middle of the street and runs straight to the police again to turn himself in. How many people haven't heard that narrative? And let's just be honest. How many people have not heard that narrative regarding this particular case? I hadn't heard it, but you know where I did hear it? I heard it here. I heard it here first. I heard it here first with the prosecutor's cross-examination of the defendant. The prosecutor played video after video after video showing that Kyle was there with his gun and he was there with his medic kit and that he was offering to help people who had been injured, right? So there's different videos where he's showing this and there's a reporter following him.
I do. And he's got some fire extinguishers slung over his shoulder?
Yes.
And he says something to you about something putting out fires, and you respond, they know. Did I understand what you said correctly there? They know?
That's what I just heard, but I don't remember that interaction very well other than helping the guy after with the shoulder.
Okay, so in this clip, he's talking about helping people with their shoulders because he was some type of cadet, right? So he's some type of cadet with the fire department and wants to be an EMT. And he literally has this little kit around, a little kit with him, right? That he's walking down, and I got to find this part of the clip where he's walking down the street saying, does anyone need help? Does anyone need help? Is anyone hurt? Is anyone hurt? And the prosecutor is the one who shows that video clip. And so I wonder if anyone is paying attention to that part of this case. I wonder if anyone's paying attention to the fact that he was putting fires out in dumpsters. He was walking around saying, does anyone need help? Does anyone need help? But here's the part I need to get to. I can't say for certain what happened with the first shooting because there's so many different vantage points. And he's claiming it was self-defense because there was a mob of people. This, I'm not going to show the video, but this right here is the area in which the first shooting happened. And you see there's a bunch of people around at this particular time. There's a lot of people who are around. It's not just a one-on-one situation. It's not him running around just shooting people, but there are a lot of people who are around in the area where this shooting is taking place, where he's being chased in this area here. I wish you could see my mouse, but I don't want to show the video because I'm not sure if there's children watching and it's not really something you all need to see. But here's the point that I want to get to. And hopefully this will show it because I'm trying my best not to show you the parts of the videos where anyone is injured. But I want to show you the part of the video where he's running down the street and he's being chased. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're not going to show that part because unfortunately,
until this moment in this evening, you had never
showing that part
had any interaction with him.
The gun part. We're not going to show that part. So we're going to skip that. But I want us to talk about it. So he's running down the street, guys. And I may come back to it because I want to get to the tipping point of this. He's running down the street and people are chasing him. They're chasing him. They're chasing him down the street. And the reason they're chasing him down the street could be because they believe he's someone who just shot someone. However, under Wisconsin law, if you shot the person in self-defense, then No one has a right to attack you. No one has a right to chase you. No one has a right to kick you in the head. No one has the right to hit you with a skateboard. No one has the right to grab your gun. That is what it is under Wisconsin law. So I need to hear from you guys in the chat. Is this your understanding of the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Or is your understanding that this 17-year-old just went out there and went buck wild and was an active shooter, which is what the prosecutor made a mistake and called him an active shooter? But then, of course, the defense gets up and shows this boy running down the street holding his gun, saying, I'm trying to get to the police. I'm trying to get to the police. He's not shooting all the people he's running past, but that's what active shooters do. He shot someone who he claims was chasing him, who the video supports was chasing him and had threatened him. Whether or not he should have shot him in that instance is up for a jury to decide. As to the second two, when you see someone who is running towards the police saying, I'm trying to get to the police, and the mob goes after him. Thank you, Nita, for admitting that wasn't your understanding, because it wasn't mine either until I started to watch the actual trial for myself so that I could see, as opposed to just listening to, what the media was saying or listening to what anyone else had to say about the trial. So I appreciate that you're able to admit that as well, because most people are not. But here's the deal. Faith with Alex, it wasn't my understanding either. Thank you, Faith, for saying that as well. So when I looked at that, it changed my perspective quite a bit. Why? Well, because what if you were in the midst of this, not even you or one of your children was in the midst of this, and they were hired to protect a car lot, and they think that they're going to be out there helping people, and he's got his little kit around his bag with his little medical supplies, and they have video of him walking down the street saying, hey, is anyone injured? Is anyone injured? Does anyone need help? And then when a group starts coming towards him, he raised his hand, he said, friendly, I'm friendly. He was letting them know he wasn't against them. He was friendly. They have video. This is the prosecutor showing all this. They have video saying, oh no, I'm friendly. And so he's walking down the street and he's attacked by allegedly attacked by the first person who was killed, Mr. Rosenbaum. What I also didn't know was that there's another gentleman who's involved in this case, right? The other gentleman involved in this case is starts with a Z. I got to go back to my notes. Hold on. It's actually right here in front of me. Starts with a Z. He actually fired a warning shot before Kyle fired his gun. Could it be that when he heard the gunshot and the people were chasing him, he turned around thinking that it was Mr. Rosenbaum who was shooting at him? And then that's when the gun went off? We don't know, because we don't have time to sit and watch the entire trial. And I completely understand that. But here's what I do know. We have to start paying attention to what's actually going on, because there is a impending riot that's about to happen outside the courthouse. Let me go back to this. This is the scene outside of the courthouse on yesterday. People are waiting on this verdict, but most of the people aren't watching it. They're not paying attention to it so that we can make decisions. Do you all remember last year we talked about a particular case where everyone was protesting and everyone was rioting over somebody getting shot, and then we watched it was a girl, and we watched the video and we realized the girl was actually got shot because she was trying to stab another girl outside of her house, and if the police hadn't shot her, she'd have killed the other girl. But people started protesting over that. But then after the information started to come out, it looked a little different. So here's the issue with this particular case. We cannot pick a side until we know the details surrounding what happened. Why? Because our country's at a tipping point. What's a tipping point? A tipping point is that there's been so much violence, there's been so much hatred, there's been so much division, that if we don't all start looking at all perspectives and really getting the information for ourselves, we are in danger of tipping the scales to the wrong side. And what you don't want to do is be in a protest or be in an argument and then find out you just spent all this emotional energy, you just spent all this financial energy, you just spent all of this energy on what could have been the wrong thing. There are two sides to every story. Two sides to every story. And I'm here today to give you another perspective on the Kyle Rittenhouse story, because I didn't have it until I watched it. And I was like, wait, these people are chasing this man when he's trying to get to the police, and they see he's trying to get to the police. The police are half a block away. You see the video with all the lights, and they're still chasing him down, and they're still knocking him down and kicking him in the head and banging him in the head with a skateboard. And he's 17 with a gun. And even the people who are chasing him also have guns. So as to the second two people, could he have feared for his life? You might want to go watch the video and see it for yourself, because I don't know who's watching, so I don't want to show a part of the video that would be inappropriate for this show. But what I will tell you is that it's time for us all to have an open mind. Thank you, Diana. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your comments. It's time for us to have an open mind and for us to pay attention for ourselves. You can't trust the mainstream media. You can't trust what your neighbor said. You can't trust it. You have to go get the information for yourself. I only came to this conclusion that there might be something else amidst, or might be something else at play in this case, because what? Because I spent 10 hours watching witness testimony, watching all the different video footage, watching what seemed like just this boy. He's 17. This boy out there thinking that he was doing something. Oh, I'm out here protecting the property. A boy. Do your own research. Because the bigger issue I found when I looked at this was, you have a biased judge. That's what's been in the news. You have a judge who did some things that were quite inappropriate. So what do you do with those types of people? You report them to the Judicial Canon Committee, and he's elected. So then you make some decisions when election time comes up. You have what I feel was an anxious prosecutor. An anxious prosecutor who's been accused by the defense attorney in his closing argument of being a liar. He was accused of falsifying evidence. He was accused of so many different things I've never seen in a trial. But here's what I saw. And looking at the indictment, I saw someone who indicted someone in 2 days without having enough information. The boy came to you. He told you what happened. He said it was in self-defense. He wasn't hiding from you, right? He ran to the police. So this indictment came in 48 hours because you wanted to be able to get on the news and say something, but you're adding charges to it that you can't even support because you, as the prosecutor, did not take time to look at the law. And I also want to say thank you, Mr. Prosecutor, because of your direct or cross-examination of the defendant, I got more information that made me feel like this isn't exactly what you said it was. This isn't what it looks like. And so I'm here to tell you guys, as the nation begins to pivot back into this scenery of violence, because it's coming, back into the accusations, back into the division, back into the hatred, I'm going to say the following. We have to be grounded in the truth. We have to be grounded in what's accurate. So my information mostly comes from what? From the videos shown by the prosecutor, right? Videos don't lie, people do. And the testimony either substantiated them or they didn't. The videos substantiate the boy was being chased. The videos substantiate that during the second part of the shooting, that he was kicked in the head as he was running towards the police. They're calling this guy the jump kick man. That he was hit in the head with a skateboard by the next person who was shot. And that the third person who was shot and lived, who had his bicep shot, that he had a gun. And he was walking towards him. And even though he had his arms up, he still had a gun. And this boy is in a position now where, oh my God, I've just shot a second and third person now. And as soon as he gets up from the ground, he begins to run towards the police again. He's just trying to get to the police. He's just trying to get to the police. He's just trying to get to the police. So that being said, I just wanted you all to look at this because we are at a tipping point. So as you see things come out in the media, as you see things start to happen, don't get so focused on just watching your channel, either your CNN or your Fox News. It's two different channels. They have two different perspectives. They're two different sides of the country because we don't have independent media anymore. So I'm thankful to be here as Unfiltered as your source for independent media. That means independent means I'm not swayed. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not swayed by any biased opinion, but I am swayed by the truth. I am swayed by the truth, which means you dig through the evidence for yourself. And there is, we're going to get to a giveaway, guys. So let us do this, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna end on one note. So of course, we're giving away the 5 Thanksgiving dinners. For those of you who may have missed it, please let me go back to that segment there. I want to make sure that we are committed to feeding at least 5 families this year, thanks to our 5 sponsors. If you know someone in need, we're going to send them a $100 gift card to either a grocery store or to, if they want Popeye's chicken and get the fried turkey and the sides from there, they can. They want to do honey baked ham, that's fine. We're going to be doing that. Please send an email. If you are in need, let it be you. That's fine. It is in confidence. If you know someone who could benefit from this, please send an email to beblessed@bcwright.com, or just send me a message at the BC Wright inside of Facebook or at the BC Wright inside of Instagram so that we can make sure those people are fed. But of course, in addition to that, we have our regular giveaway where we give away money on Unfiltered every single week. As we begin to expand, of course, we're going to have to do this a little bit different because it's hard to see everybody who is in the chat. But for now, we will continue to do it this way until I figure out how we do this better. So you all know how this works. You all know what to do. I am going to move us over to a graphic. And what I want you all to do is go ahead and put a number between 1 and 100 in the chat box, and I'll be right back. You guys are funny as I am looking at these numbers here. You guys are funny. So let me see who is closest to one of these numbers who got one of them. 49. 49 might be closest. Okay, 79, 17, 22. Okay, so the closest person is actually going to be number 49 because the number is 45. Kyle Rittenhouse actually pulled numbers out of a bingo basket for the jurors, and one of the juror numbers was 45. So congratulations, you have won $100. Please send me your preferred method of payment via chat or via email. Okay. So with that being said, here's how I want to close out. I do want to close out with this. Let me get over to here. Not the indictment, not the assignment. Let me get over to here. I want to close out with this, and I'm hoping this will give you an idea. I want you all to see this.
Just asked you.
Look at this.
So you're a certified EMT, and you said yes, correct?
Yes.
That was a lie, correct?
I'm not an EMT.
You're not a certified EMT. You're not an EMT of any kind. You weren't on that night, correct?
Yes.
So you lied to him, correct?
I told him I was an EMT, but I wasn't.
Listen to this. He told them he was an EMT, but he wasn't. Why did he tell him that? Because he was walking around with a medical kit, little cadet, walking around with a medical kit, trying to service people who had been injured. And when the reporter asked, "Oh, are you an EMT?" That's how that question came up. He lied, like most 17-year-olds do. And I'm not saying it was right to lie about it. He lied and said he was, but really he was just a cadet at the fire department. So all I'm saying is get the facts. All I'm saying is look at things differently. And all I'm saying is fight differently. So we are out of time and we're over time, but make sure that you all are staying tuned. Make sure that you all are staying blessed and make sure that you're staying woke. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We want to get those emails, the information for the people who need food. We want to get that information as soon as possible so that we can make sure that this weekend they have time to go ahead and prepare for Thanksgiving with their family. On behalf of Unfiltered and our sponsors, we love you. Take care. Thank you. Be blessed. And of course, stay woke. We will see you guys next time here on Unfiltered.
It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's bigger.